Hello everyone, it's Erin again from Adventure Awaits, and welcome back to my newly rethemed YouTube channel where we are here to focus on superhero training efforts to help save our planet, traveling, and of course just everyday adventures. I am very excited because in 7 days I'll be heading out to Orlando to have some park time at Universal Studios and Disney. Earlier in August, I did post a vlog about what to pack in your backpack when heading out to the parks, so I'll link that into the description down below. We covered not only what to put in your backpack, but what we're most excited about for the upcoming 30th anniversary of Halloween Horror Nights, and I am super excited that in 1 week from today, I will be packing the car and heading out to Orlando. Now, of course, we did miss the festivities of the fall in various parks due to COVID, but now they're going to have the delayed 30th anniversary of Halloween Horror Nights. So I have definitely been spending a lot of time researching and getting ready for this event. I have been planning and packing and prepping and watching endless hours of YouTube from the other vloggers who do fortunately get to live near those parks and being able to see everything happen in real time and preparing from what they're showing out there as well. So I have been to Disney for years, enough to know what I'm doing and to maximize the time that we're in the parks since we only have 1 day and we will be visiting Disney's Hollywood Studios. So yes, we are going to ride Smuggler's Run, Slinky Dog Dash, and of course ride the 2 new rides we have yet to experience due to COVID, and that's Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, that's a very tough one to say, and the Rise of the Resistance. So I'm super excited that right now you're able to kind of just meander through and get a boarding pass even later in the day, which was unheard of since it opened and even through the summer months. But this is not about Disney specifically today. No, this is more specifically about Universal Studios and the 30th anniversary that is Halloween Horror Nights. And I am very excited to get out there and essentially be scared to death. We are attending in just a couple of weekends, September 10th through the 12th, and it'll be the second weekend that the festivities are running at Universal Studios. So it doesn't give me a lot of time to actually fine-tune all of my decisions, make sure they're correct, but I have been doing the research, and they did have team member preview night on August 31st, so that did allow me some time to tweak the plan that I had and make it a little bit more final. So let's lay out the facts first. Next week on September 9th at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we leave from Baton Rouge, where I will drive us through the night, 10.5 hours to Orlando. Don't worry, I'll be sleeping all day, so I'll be fully energized and ready, filled with excitement and adrenaline, and go straight to Islands of Adventure first, so that way we can ride Velocicoaster. Now, I have ridden it 3 times before in July, but my husband has not had an opportunity to ride it, and he's kind of on the fence about it, but I do want to try and get in there first and early into the park so I can scratch that off my list and keep on trucking with my other things to do. We do have 2 park-to-park days for Universal, plus 2 nights worth of Halloween Horror Nights on the Friday and the Sunday night. On Saturday, that is when we will visit Disney's Hollywood Studios to kind of take it easy. Of course, since we do have day tickets, we will do our sightseeing, our shopping, riding of the rides, eating and such at Universal on the Friday and the Sunday, instead of that being our main focus at Halloween Horror Nights on Friday night and Sunday night as well. One of the great things about having day tickets at the same time that you have an event ticket like Halloween Horror Nights is that you can stay in their designated stay and scream locations. There are a few around Universal Studios. We stayed at Finnegan's the last couple of years we visited because they had shade, they had restaurants, they had lots of snack options and drink carts available for you. And it is, of course, where we wanted to get in line first for the haunted houses that we had at the top of our list. The perks of stay and scream is that you get guided into one of the haunted houses before the rest of general admission is allowed to enter the gates all the way at the front of the park. So that is a perk for you to do. But you do have to stay in that line for the hour and a half that you are there. And then, of course, as the countdown gets closer in those last 10 minutes, everyone kind of pushes towards the front. You got to elbow your way to create space and get your way back into the front of the line. There are other stay and scream locations, but after doing research, they don't have as much shade. They may not have as much food options. There may not be a lot of space. It may not be where I want to be in my first house, which is why we have stayed in Finnegan's. And since Florida is hot, just like Louisiana, shade is vital. The Halloween Horror Nights tickets for this year, they're allowing you to actually come in and stay early in a stay in Scream location. So I'm kind of unhappy about that, but it is what it is. I'll just have to practice my elbow a little bit more to make sure I get my space back. Now, I did mention on August 31st, Universal held their team member preview for Halloween Horror Nights 30, and now we know where the houses are located. We know what the scare zones look like in the daytime and in the nighttime, the carts for food and beverage as well. So now that we do know the house locations, I know that we will be staying at Finnegan's Stay and Scream again this year to be in line for the first of our top houses. There are 10 haunted houses again this year, plus 5 scare zones and 2 live shows. I'll give you the list of shows as I rank them in my personal preference in just a bit. But the scare zones, walking through them, are going to be Crypt TV. If you haven't seen this series, check them out. They're on YouTube. They're all about monsters in the same universe, all different stories that kind of are all linked together. It is super awesome. Plus, you want to catch the references before you get out there. The other scare zone they have is 30 Years, 30 Fears. This is right when you enter the park. This is more of a photo op. They have a lot of the icons they've used throughout the 30 years of Halloween Horror Nights there. It's beautiful. It's fun. There's a lot of scream actions. There's a lot of chainsaws. Make sure you check it out. It's going to be beautiful for photos. The next one they have is Seek and Destroy. It reminds me a lot of Hunger Games, but they are looking for humans to turn into blood, which is their fuel, but they are dressed very much like the Hunger Games police, if you will. The next scare zone is Gar Wood Forest. It is really pretty at night, so make sure you check it out, especially at nighttime. And the next one is Lights, Camera, Action. Eddie's Revenge, which is the director. So there are a lot of former scare zones all Mod Podge into one whenever you walk down Hollywood or Sunset Boulevard, right by the Today Cafe. The 2 live shows that they have are Marathon of Mayhem, Carnage Factory, and Halloween Nightmare Fuel. And those show times are at 8 p.m., 9:30 p.m., 11 p.m., and 12:30 a.m. Now, in 2020, Universal did have a 29.5 Halloween Horror Nights where they had 2 haunted houses, Revenge of the Tooth Fairy and The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. And then they did have a 3rd house for a brief moment. They were only available for 2 days. 2 days! Where day guests could just meander through without any wait time as many times as they wanted to experience a 29.5 HHN festivity. So thank you, Universal, for that. It is awesome. They did decide to keep those houses in this year's lineup for 2021 Halloween Horror Nights 30th anniversary. So one of the things they had to do last year was install plexiglass in some of the scare areas inside the haunted houses, which we did find out is confirmed they are doing again for this year. All of the actors inside of the haunted houses and the scare actors in the outside scare zones are going to be required to wear a mask, especially if they are close to guests. Now, guests visiting the park in day hours and for the ticketed after hours event, masks are optional. Whether you're vaccinated or you're unvaccinated, whether you're inside or outside, it is optional for guests at Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure to have to wear masks. I am not going to complain about having the plexiglass dividers and the scare actors wearing their masks. We're having an event. I'm very excited about it, and we will do whatever we need to make sure this festivity of 30th anniversary gets kicked off. So, one of the other things I get asked is, what do you wear to this event? So if you've ever been to Disney's Boo Bash or Mickey's Not So Scary, you know that families can dress up in themed costumes, like actual costumes. You can't dress up in a costume, but you can bound, if you will. So what I mean by that is dressing up in regular day clothes that have a theme of something. So in 2019, we love What We Do in the Shadows. So I made a What We Do in the Shadows t-shirt for 2019, which we wore for one night. And then of course we just wore some other Halloween themed outfits for the other nights we were there in 18 and of course in 19. So for this year's event in 2021, the first night I will be dressing as a devil. I have a very comfortable and relaxing red athletic top with red tennis skirt and matching red rhinestone horns with just comfy tennis shoes. And the second night I'll be wearing my Bride of Frankenstein's dramatically beautiful shirt. Now during the daytime I'm going to be wearing my Hermione Razorback shirt and something else that is Harry Potter themed because I'm a proud Gryffindor and I have to rep my house. So now let's get through the 10 houses and list them in my personal preference order. But after seeing the team preview on August 31st, some of them did change. So where they started out is not where they ended up on my list after watching everybody else's vlogs. So starting out with number 10, which this house was originally my number 7, dropped to number 10, Beetlejuice. Though it is a big fan favorite, it is merely just because it is a movie, and the house basically goes scene by scene just like it did with Ghostbusters. And we went through Ghostbusters in 2019. It was a fun house. It wasn't a haunted house by any means. So I kind of expected that. That was kind of the same reviews that we got from Team Member Preview. So Beetlejuice did go from number 7 to number 10 on my list to start off with. Now, next on my list, which was originally last, but now number 9, it is Case Files Unearthed. It's noir style where there is a detective narrating the haunted house as you go through it. But it's really kind of not my theme cup of tea, so that's why it does sit at number 9. Number 8 is The Tooth Fairy's Revenge. And this is the house from last year. It was well received, but it is sitting at number 8 for me. And team members did say that there were lots of good jump scares, so maybe it'll find its way rising up the ranks after I go through the house the first time. The next one they have is Pumpkin Growth, which has stayed at my number 7. After seeing the other videos, it was beautifully decorated at nighttime. The pumpkins were all lit. It was really, really well themed. And there are mixed reviews for this one, but it has stayed at number 7 for me. And of course, again, it may bump up as after I go through that house. Number 6, which was my number 5, and it got bumped to number 6, is the Scary Horror in the Heartland. It reminds me of Carrie, like Sam with Trick or Treat. And fun fact, I'm sure you may already know this, and if you don't, fun fact of the day, that Cary, Ohio is where one of the original Halloween horror producers, designers, somebody important with Halloween Horror Nights, they're originally from Cary, Ohio. So this is a little homage to them with their Cary, Ohio being Scary Ohio horror in the Heartland. So I am going to leave that one at number 6 after moving it from number 5 to number 6. Number 5, one that also was bumped up, is Puppet Theater. Now, there's something about the house that makes me really excited to see what is the puppet. Who becomes the puppet? Are we the puppets? Are we in danger of becoming a puppet? There are a lot of great reviews in this. I heard a lot of good scares around this house, so I'm really excited to see Puppet Theater. Now, my top 4 are all of the big ones. The 4th one for me is The Haunting of Hill House, which is a Netflix series. So if you haven't seen it, you might want to see a few episodes. Some said it ruins things, some have no idea. So check it out on Netflix. I'm very excited to walk through it and see the bent neck lady. Now again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch it on the Netflix. The next one for number 3 comes in as Bride of Frankenstein Lives, and loaded from 2020 for 29.5 Halloween Horror Nights. But the Universal Monsters in 2019, that house was amazing. Even as you were trying to walk out of the building for the haunted house to be done, they still had surprises for you. So I do expect that to kind of be a recurring theme here in the Bride of Frankenstein Lives, but I'm very excited about that one. The next one, the number 2, is Texas Chainsaw. I love this movie. I love this movie. I love this movie. And I'm very, very excited to see this movie in a haunted house format. Although I did hear that Leatherface makes one too many appearances, sort of like Michael Myers did in his house just a couple of years ago. So we'll see. And then, of course, my number 1 most anticipated house is Halloween Horror Nights Icons Captured. I am so excited to see these icons. Most of them I've never met. Some of them I have, like Jack the Clown, the director, the usher, the storyteller. I have met Lady Luck and Chance. So I'm very excited to see all of these icons captured in this house. All of their trailers, their teaser trailers have been amazing. So I'm so excited to see that. But I would love to go through these houses, especially my top 4, multiple times, but you have to have a really good plan to maximize your time there because it's going to be crowded. Now here's my little tip trick of planning for horror nights. I like to pick 2 of my must-sees for each night. So we're going a Friday night and a Sunday night. So that's my top 4 right there. But instead of doing 1, 2, and 3, 4, I'm actually going to do 1, 3, 2, and 4. So that leaves the opportunity for me to try and get through Icons Captured along with Bride of Frankenstein, and then the next night do Texas Chainsaw with Hill House. Then I'm going to pick some of the other houses from the rest of my list and sprinkle in there, so that way I technically have 5 houses as the minimum that I want to see each night. Although if you've maximized your time right, you can probably see about 6 or 7, which we've done in the past. So we are going to start out with Finnegan's on Friday night at the Stay and Scream, getting in line for Icons Captured, and then immediately heading into the back of the park near the Men in Black ride to walk through the Scary Horror in the Heartland, Pumpkin Growth, and Puppet Theater. And then of course we're going to hit the pause button because we've just raced across the parks, getting from one house to 3 other houses, grab some food and drink real fast, and then see what wait times, if any, are lower. And then we may try to sneak into the other tucked away section of the park near E.T. and Feifels Playland to do either Beetlejuice or The Haunting of Hill House. From there, we plan to catch the 11 p.m. Nightmare Fuel Show with more food and drinks, of course. And then if we're tired, we'll head out or try to catch the water show before we head out. But I would love to try and sneak in one more big number house for me before we call it a day for that particular Friday. So everyone is talking about how crowded it'll be this year in general, so having a plan and being smart with your timing is key. Another tip would be to always check the Universal app to see the wait times listed for each of the haunted houses. Also, a side note, they have a mobile arcade kind of app thing where you can play interactive games and do interactive things with the icons while you are there at Horror Night, so make sure you look into that. The map has been released and we now know our plan of action. A few other tips is making sure you know where you're going. If you want to avoid those scare zones, you know the way around it. If you want to go through it, you know how to walk the fastest through, elbow your way through the people. And then after that, start skipping the scare zones so you can get around to other places a lot faster to really maximize your time there. Also try to catch some of the later shows like we are with the 11 o'clock show or even the 12:30 a.m. show. This year is going to be much more of a food festival. They have a lot of great food themed items from all of the different houses, from all the different icons. So make sure you look those up ahead of time so you know which ones you want and where to find them also, most importantly. Now, since we have the day tickets, we won't waste any time with riding any of the rides because we can do that during the day. There, with Universal, I'm able to do both parks in one day with a park-to-park ticket. Matter of fact, in the summer on July 3rd, I took some of our pageant family along with me and we were able to do all of the rides, some of them several times on July 3rd. Now, a rainstorm may have helped us get through those lines a little bit faster, but they are totally doable. So some of my favorites in Islands of Adventure are the Hulk, Hagrid's, and of course Velocicoaster. And in Universal, those are Rip Rocket, Gringotts, and the Mummy. My last big decision really for this trip is actually deciding which park bag I want to bring. I know I talked about it in my last vlog, but I still haven't decided. They give you these small lockers and I have a lot of stuff to bring, so I just don't know what I'm going to do yet, or if I'm just going to suck it up and stuff it into the small locker. So now I just have to wait for all of you wonderful vloggers out there to cover all of this Labor Day weekend at Halloween Horror Night, so that way I can tweak my plans, make my revisions, overanalyze every little thing to try to maximize our time that we're going to have on September 10th and September 12th. So make sure you visit my website, follow me on social media, subscribe to my podcast, YouTube channel, like this video, and hit that bell for notifications. And thank you so much for listening, watching, and sharing. I'm Erin reminding you that adventure awaits, so go find it.